God.
All right, we're here. It's been a long time in the making. We've had a few things that have slightly delayed it. Unfortunately, we're all getting older, and people are getting married, and families and stuff like that. So kind of changes the dynamic a bit. But no, we're super excited, man. It sounds incredible. I know it sounds really cliched and biased to say after every album you release, like, oh, this is the best music we've ever written, but it genuinely is the best music I think that we've ever written. It's more cohesive. It feels like the whole album, start to finish, is a listening experience, and all the songs make sense with one another, and a bit darker. But I think it's still got that kind of the pop flavour that we've always had in all of our songs. So
really, I just want to release the damn record.
Yeah.
I want people to hear it and enjoy it, really. I think the one staying point for us has always been that sort of more poppy element of what we do. I think that's kind of been the one thing that's kind of stayed true with us since the beginning. The other elements around it that have changed. So I think there's more groove in this new stuff than what there used to be. We don't really have any of that sort of power prog influence anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most consistent factor in what we do is just maintaining that catchiness. So
that's Danny.
yeah, totally. Yeah,
Danny. His vocal delivery as well. I mean, it just we are not really a prog band. Is that we like song structure, catchy songs, and not we won't kind of go too far off of what the song is and go into some sort of like acid jazz section or something. I think about what I like to listen to, and I like good song structure and something that gets stuck in your head, and I think we're all kind of that same thinking, and that's just the way it comes out when we write it. The reason this album is way more cohesive, and the songs all make more sense as well, is just that it's the same lineup as the last album. We all work together really well. We're kind of all on the same page musically, and we know what each other are kind of thinking a lot of the time and where we want to go with things. As it was as well, it was relatively easy compared to even the Meaning of I as well, because it used to just be Danny writing all the music for the most part, and then myself or whoever else was in guitar as well, we would just try and arrange the guitar parts so they sounded a little bit more like a guitar rather than a keyboard. But he would come in with like this skeleton, and then we would flesh it out and turn it into a human, essentially, a simple way of explaining it. But probably since Meaning of I, we've all had a bit more input in the sort of songwriting, riff writing, and
I think some of the ideas for how songs came to be, like those catalyst ideas, didn't all come from Danny as well, and I think that's kind of shaped the way some of the songs are now represented, where maybe the guitars are a little bit more feature than they used to be. So I know you're thinking about Universe, a lot of the songs on Universe have keyboard openings rather than guitar openings,
and lots of like guitar harmony parts and things, because that's a very piano thing to do, so the voicings are different. So I mean, Danny's not a guitarist, as we know, with his funny story, when I first joined the band and he was trying to show me guitar parts, and he was like playing them all on one string up the entire fret, and I'm just like, that's not how you play guitar. And I'm just like, oh my God.
He's the typical amateur guitarist that wants to play everything with like one finger.
Yeah. Definitely. Guilty. Anything that sounds like Leprous is me.
I think it's like, I think some of Danny's vocal ideas as well, though,
Yeah.
like
Gentle Earth.
Yeah, Gentle Earth and Ghost Mile, like some of his melodic choices really remind me of something that Einar would do. Yeah, I think that they rubbed off on us in more than just their personalities. I think like in watching them play a bunch of times, there were some things that they were doing that were really cool. Their grooves are just really, really interesting, and yeah, I think we did sort of maybe nick a few ideas in terms of like harmony as well, because all their stuff is really dark and moody.
Yeah, thanks for the licks tour. But no, yeah, I mean, and it's funny because on Ghost Mile, the song as well, there's a section that Danny wrote that is completely sounds like Evergrey, you know?
Mm.
Dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, this sounds, and it's funny, you go on a tour with the band, it's really awesome. This is one thing we love about touring, is you get inspired and it gives you new ideas and kind of envelops into your sound a little bit. One good thing about touring.
Yeah. I think Leprous left a huge impression on us.
Yeah, big fan.
She was gushing the whole time.
Oh, every night. I was like, even if I was sick, I would just be up the front like, yeah.
Completely in love and not in just one way.
Oh, it's just so good. Hey, shut up. People might hear this. Yeah, then they become such amazing friends as well. It's every now and again we get like a little message from one of them like, miss you guys. It's like, oh.
It's pretty cute.
It is very cute, yeah.
And I have never seen this side of me. And I have never
Yeah, Deftones, Karnivool, Epica, Nightwish.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, actually the last 2 years have been like, well, that's the thing is we wanted to release the album a bit earlier, but we got all these like really cool touring opportunities, and we're like,
I think once we hit about April or so, we were like, all right, new album, let's do this. And then we got an email being like, oh, do you guys want to support Deftones?
and Karnivool, and we're like,
well,
yes.
Yes, we do.
Why would we not want to play 5,000 cap venues with two bands that have like influenced us, well, some of us, over different decades? And it was sick. They were like such nice guys, like completely humble. And yeah, they just hung out with us. They like come in our room and eat our food. And Steph watched us sound check like every day. Yeah. And they're all like kind of fans of the band as well. So, and their roadie Juan, I think he's one of the reasons why we may have even got on the tour, is he's like a massive Voyager fan. So. But yeah, it was sick, yeah.
It was also kind of cool because I was talking to Steph at the first show, and he asked me, he's like, oh man, is Summer Always Comes Again going to be in your set? And I was like, oh no. And he's like, oh dude, that's my jam. I love that song. I was like,
it's like the cheesiest song ever, and he loves that.
Yeah, but honestly, I was just blown away that he'd even heard of us.
And yeah, Chino was like lovely as well. There was one point where I was watching Karnivool and he came out, and I didn't realise he was standing next to me, and I like sort of turned around and he's like, hey, and he just like gave me this massive hug, and I was like, wow. And he's like, you guys were so amazing. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. And then he came out on stage with a Voyager shirt on at the show that night in Adelaide, and I was like, I really hope we get to do some other big, tours. I mean, obviously we've got Euroblast and Prog this year, which is going to be sick. Try and organise some more dates around that, but it's just whatever we can get. But obviously we'd rather play more shows than less.
It's I think it's just a good model. Like, I don't really see it as being too significantly different from a regular album pre-order.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we write the record and people buy it. It's just that they're pre-ordering it, right? But what's cool about this model is, one, it feels more honest. It's us saying, we do this ourselves. We don't have a record label giving us an advance to do the recording, to press the CDs, to fund everything. So we just tell people straight out, we're like, if we want this CD to exist, then we need the money to do it. So I guess that's one thing that is new about it. And the other thing is that you can offer other exclusives. So you can do Skype lessons. You've seen the whole campaign. There's a whole number of random things that you'd probably never get otherwise. So I think that that's kind of a cool little unique thing, and it kind of bridges the gap between fans and the bands. And I think that that's a really cool thing. Like, I would like to have no barrier, or at least a very small barrier between ourselves and the fans, because, we're just people at the end of the day. I think that the crowdfunding campaign sort of helps kind of create that.
I think people have the wrong idea about how it works. You see a lot of people complaining about it, like, oh, people are like begging for money and blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you do it properly and you do it right, if you've already got an album written of music and you're going to be recording it anyway, it's at least the fans kind of know, like, what there's a date, and they've got something to hear and little bits of it and things like that. I guess I can understand when it's just someone going, we're going to write an album and we don't have anything to show you yet, but give us money.
Yeah, trust us.
I can kind of understand that, having some like a single or something ready anyway, it sells it, because it's giving people a taste of what's going on. But it's people just see it as a charity thing, but they don't realise that you're essentially just pre-ordering it anyway, because I can completely understand why bands have to do it. It's okay, people aren't really buying our music anymore. People can download it for free. People don't really turn up to gigs like they used to.
Yeah.
So they complain about you never playing their city, and then you play their city and the turnout's like terrible. And they're like, well, where can we squeeze some more money? And some of it's like, okay, we'll do lessons on the road, but you might get a couple of students here or there. The only other way is, the VIP meet and greet thing. So I totally understand why bands are doing it. I think, again, there's a right way and a wrong way to do those as well. Yeah, fans just really need to understand that, record labels aren't giving us money anymore, because they're not doing great either. I mean, they're trying to change their model to fit in with digital sort of life as well. So we're all kind of trying to find ways to still make it work, so you don't just go, well, I can't do this anymore.
I think there needs to be an admission from everybody that all that's happened in the last 15 or so years is that an entire stream of revenue has disappeared and has not been replaced.
No.
It hasn't been replaced by anything. And that's what these meet and greets are. That these are the manifestations of an entire stream of income that has just disappeared. So you are going to see a change from that in order for everything to still function.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, people are still buying records. It's not like the entire thing has vanished into thin air. It's just that it's been a significant enough change in money that we have to compensate in some way.
For us to do it, and we do it on the cheap, it's just hard. And I hate it as well that we have to have this discussion, because it's kind of ruining that whole mystique about artists. People think that artists are like, rock stars, and they get off in their limo and and sex, drugs and rock and roll and everything like that. And yet when we're sitting here saying or having these conversations, it makes us just sound really like, oh, poor me, sort of thing. So I kind of hate that we have to have that conversation, but at the same time, there has to be some honesty, you can't do everything with no money. You can only pretend and put on a facade for so much, before it's kind of like, we can't afford to do that, so. Right, it's actually it covers some of the costs, and that's what I don't think people understand, is that even when we make, I think we're at like 125% of our target right now, and it's going to cover the pressing and the postage, I think.
Yeah, it'll cover the actual making of the product and the distribution of the product, no problems.
But then you've got PR.
But then in terms of actually promoting the record, that's expense unto itself, and that we didn't factor that into the campaign.
Yeah, we basically just said, how much do we need to make the album feasible, and also just posting and making t-shirts and stuff like that for this campaign. And that's how we tried to price it sort of fairly so that people can afford it as well. Yeah, it's just never ending, the costs of being in a band. And I mean, it's worth it. I think the hardest thing is, as well, is a lot of it is like you're investing, you're like paying up front for things, and then you don't start seeing like income from it for like quite a while afterwards, especially with an album. Definitely. It's not really till you start touring that you're going to start really seeing an income from things. So you're essentially putting up tens of thousands of dollars, and then just kind of like, hopefully this will pay off.
Yeah, and it's the same deal with touring too. So like the album tour, while we've got pre-sale tickets and everything going, that's all well and good. You have to kind of jump into these things with a lot of foresight.
The fact that we made our target in under a week, I mean, we're so lucky we've got such dedicated fans. But you always still have that bit of self-doubt in the back of your mind, just kind of like, what if people don't like what we're doing as well? Like, what if people don't like the new direction? Yeah, because it's so saturated nowadays as well. There's so much music out there. We're trying our hardest to like respond to every single person that comments on things, you know, on YouTube or on Facebook or on the pledge campaign, you know, to try and make sure people know that we're reading all of this stuff and that we truly do appreciate what everyone's doing for us. And we're just truly humbled by the generosity and care that our fans have for what we do. It's
literally, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without it. Like, you know, that's kind of the part that's really on the sleeve and very honest, is that, I mean, we need money to make this work, and thankfully we receive enough to make it work. So it's cool.
So thank you. Thank you to you guys as well.